Woman tearfully watches video of her husband rolling around in bed with his brother's girlfriend. Realizing her beloved husband has been cheating all along, Nalan's eyes lose their fondness. Sedat bursts in, yanks out the USB drive, and claims he'd long wanted to confess but never found the chance. Nalan feels sick to her stomach, scrambling to run out. Sedat chases after her, pleading, "That thing with Melissa happened before I met you. Back then, she was just a call girl. She'd sleep with anyone who paid." His words only enrage Nalan more. He's clearly in the wrong, yet he's shifting all the blame onto others. Utterly disillusioned, Nalan asks for Harry to drive her away, leaving Sedat frozen in place, at a loss. Nalan then calls Muzo, asking to meet at a cafe. She sees him as kind and honest, a rare soul she can still trust. She asks if he'd known all along, that Melissa was a call girl, that she'd slept with Sedat. Muzo vehemently shakes his head, swearing he had no clue. Nalan breaks down crying. "So many people have lied to me. I can't tell who's truthful anymore. Please, Muzo, promise you'll never deceive me." Muzo's heart aches to see her in such pain. He then calls Melissa into his car and chews her out fiercely. Muzo mistakenly thinks his refusal to marry her pushed Melissa to sell herself, unaware she'd done it long before they met. To make amends, he gets her a job with his father's friend and tells her to take her mother and leave this nest of trouble. Meanwhile, a frantic Sedat turns to Kana for a plan. If Nalan files for divorce, he'll lose everything he has. Kana advises him to beg his mother-in-law. After all, Nalan's always been her mother's yes girl. She'll do whatever Mama says. Sedat shows up with a bouquet of flowers for his mother-in-law. Mama knows this weasel never visits, without an agenda. She leads him into the kitchen, then deliberately slams a knife down hard on the meat. Sedat flinches, feeling like he's the piece of meat, a cold dread creeping over him. Better to get it over with, he decides, spilling everything to Mama. Mama is so angry that she spits in his face and snarls, "You wronged my daughter, and you dare come begging for help." Mama tells him to get out, yelling that he's defiling her house. But how could that drive away a man as thick-skinned as Sedat? He falls on his knees and clings to his mother-in-law's legs, pleading with her to save him. If his father finds out, he'll be torn to pieces, and his marriage to Nalan will be over for good. These words were undoubtedly a lifeline for Sedat. For what Mama fears most is her daughter getting a divorce and bringing shame to the family. For Nalan's sake, Mama agrees to help him one more time. Meanwhile, Nalan is hiding at her best friend's place, too afraid to go back to Mama's house. After all, she's been the one to beg and cling to marry Sedat, despite Mama's objections. Just as Nalan is drowning in sorrow and confusion, Mama shows up at the door and tells her to come home. Nalan finds it strange, because given Mama's usual temperament, even after something like this, she would definitely force Nalan to go back to Sedat's place. She asks Mama if she already knows about all the dirty things Sedat has done. Mama says softly, "Everyone has a past, even me. I've kept your sister's things from you too. There's no need to let these past things ruin your mood or your life." Nalan can't comprehend it. So, does that mean a husband's infidelity should be forgiven too? Mama changes the subject, lifts Nalan's chin, and exclaims that she has seen a beautiful woman. Mama states firmly that there's a reason for her sudden radiance. She's carrying new life. They say that in the first few months, a baby gives the mother a glowing complexion. Nalan is half convinced, half doubtful. Could it be she's really going to be a mother? On the other side, before they can win back their daughter-in-law, the Koroglu family is hit with another trouble. It turned out that Mr. Koroglu had never wanted to partner with Javet from the start. To avoid this, he even swallowed his pride and called friends to borrow money for liquidity, doing everything he could to delay signing the contract. Right up until the minute before the signing, his secretary burst in to tell him that his friend's money had arrived in his account. Mr. Koroglu immediately backed out and refused to sign. Javet feels he's been tricked, his anger spiked, and he tore the contract to shreds. Javet assumed Sedat had told Mr. Koroglu about the blackmail, and that the father and son had teamed up to set a trap to get the video back. In retaliation for the Koroglu family, Javet asks all investors to pull their investments from Koroglu's company. This instantly creates a huge financial gap for the Koroglu family, leaving them unable to repay the bank loan on time, with default interest piling up at $200,000 every second. Seelan suggests mortgaging the plot of land the Koroglus gave to Nalan to the bank. Mr. Koroglu initially refuses, It's meant for his future grandson. But as time ticks by, he wavers, telling Sedat to persuade Nalan to hand over the land. However, Nalan refuses to answer any of Sedat's calls or text messages because of the cheating. Sedat has no other choice but to go to Kana. After all, everyone else would scold him, but only Kana comforts and coddles him. They're deep in conversation when the doorbell rings. Thinking it's Mama, Kana tells Sedat to hide upstairs. But to her shock, it's her husband, home early. Kana starts talking loudly, gushing about how much she misses and loves her husband. Hearing this, Sedat scrambles to get dressed and clean up the evidence. Alp notices her unnatural behavior, though he can't pinpoint why. He says he's exhausted and just wants to go upstairs to rest, but Kana tries every trick to keep him downstairs. When Alp finally goes in, the floor is spotless, but the messy bed still strikes him as odd. What terrifies Kana even more is that Sedat is hiding outside the window. She quickly grabs Alp and kisses him, while Sedat takes the chance to jump off the balcony. However, the loud thud of his landing doesn't escape Alp, though by the time he reaches the balcony, no one is there. Sedat has dragged himself, wincing in foot pain, to hide behind a corner. Even so, Alp gets a vague sense that something is off. He sends Kana downstairs to prepare a snack, then starts searching the room for clues. Lifting a pillow, he catches a strong whiff of a man's scent, definitely not his own. Alp immediately realizes Kana is cheating again. However, he doesn't expose her right away. Instead, he smiles and says he's craving her spaghetti. Kana thinks their affair has gone undetected, unaware that Alp is planning something far more ruthless for her. The next day, Mama tracks down Sedat's mother and fills her in on all the shameful things Sedat has done. Mrs. Koroglu is livid to the point of collapse. The two mothers decide to join forces to save their children's marriage. Mama tells her, Nalan is attending an awards ceremony tonight. This is the perfect opportunity. Whether you can win Nalan back depends on you. Mrs. Koroglu rushes home and unleashes a torrent of scolding at Sedat. She's so furious she could skin him alive. When Seelan learns of his sordid deeds, her anger flares even hotter. Last night, Mr. and Mrs. Koroglu stayed up all night, watching the clock tick by, each second a loss of money. At dawn, he came to Sedat to ask him about the outcome of his talks with Nalan. But Sedat was sleeping like the dead. Mr. Koroglu was so disappointed with his son that he gave his only daughter the task of convincing Nalan to hand over her land. Seelan feels humiliated to approach Nalan after her brother's shameless deeds. Mrs. Koroglu tells her son that Nalan is going to the awards ceremony that night. If you can't win her back, I'll bash your head in. That evening, the Koroglu family arrives at the awards ceremony in style. The two mothers watch from the sidelines, terrified that this worthless fool might fail to win Nalan over. Seelan brazenly chases away the people chatting with Nalan, bringing up the company's crisis and the need to mortgage Nalan's land to keep the business afloat. But Nalan is already distracted and upset enough over Sedat. She has no energy to think about this now and begs Seelan for some time. Every second that slips by feels like money draining away to Seelan. She's desperate, but Nalan is the star of the night and has to accept an award, so she backs off. As the shining star of the year, reporters won't let Nalan avoid questions about her marriage. Sedat seizes the moment, deliberately taking her arm in front of the cameras and praising her as the best. Marrying such an amazing wife is my greatest honor. Nalan is reluctant, but she's too embarrassed to push him away in front of everyone. She excuses herself to go to the bathroom, but Sedat follows, trying to kiss her. Seeing Nalan's resistance, Sedat launches into his silver-tongued plea. I was barely human. I did so many filthy things. But ever since I met you, I've changed completely. I promise nothing like this will ever happen again. Please don't give up on me. His words move even me, and Nalan is no exception. After all, it's all in the past. As long as he's faithful from now on, that's all that matters. Nalan chooses to forgive, and they reconcile. The next day, Nalan moves back into the Koroglu mansion and returns the land to Mr. Koroglu. Mr. Koroglu promises to give her a plot of equal value once the debt crisis is over. Nalan is grateful, but declines. A happy, harmonious family is enough. She don't need those material things. On the other side, Alp is checking the home surveillance, only to find that all of them have been deliberately damaged. This confirms his suspicion that Kana is hiding something shameful. He goes to the neighbor's house, asking to see their footage. I heard noises outside last night, and I'm worried about burglars for the kids' safety. Luckily, your door camera points directly at my doorway. The next morning, Kana wakes up and goes to wake the kids for school, but the house is empty. All their clothes are gone. Alp calls her, telling her she'll never see the kids again. I gave you chances, but you're still sneaking around with Sedat. Go live with him. Kana panics and calls Sedat immediately, but there's no answer. Kana storms into the Koroglu mansion, demanding Mr. Koroglu help her get her kids back from Alp. But Mr. Koroglu refuses. He knows that Alp is a reasonable person and would not take the children away for no reason. It must be because Kana has done something wrong to him. As they argue, Sedat and Nalan come down the stairs. Fearing trouble from Nalan's mom, Kana reins herself in, pretends nothing is wrong, and leaves. A few days later, trouble and misfortune find the Koroglu family again. A worker falls to his death during the hotel construction. Seelan visits the worker's home to offer her condolences, only to learn the deceased had just gotten married and his wife is expecting a baby. As a woman herself, Seelan feels deep sympathy and guilt. Since the dead cannot be brought back, she can only compensate with money. She tells the worker's wife she'll give her $5 million as long as she doesn't sue, and that the Koroglu family will help with any future difficulties. The worker's wife has originally agreed not to sue, but under the manipulation of competitors, she not only files a lawsuit but also breaks the story to the media. With the negative headlines spreading like wildfire, the Koroglus are frantic, like cats on a hot tin roof. Meanwhile, Nalan feels as if something in her belly is kicking her. She realizes that she may actually be pregnant, but she keeps it to herself until she's sure, telling only her mother. Mama immediately takes her to the hospital for a checkup. What they don't know is that the Koroglu household is in chaos. As the hotel's supervisor, Sedat is inseparable from the worker's death. He could even end up in jail. The full-grown man sobs like a little kid. When his wife and mother-in-law walk in, they hear his father yelling at him and learn the shocking news. Just then, the hospital calls to confirm Nalan's pregnancy. But with everything in such disarray, how can she bring it up? Sniffling and tearful, Sedat insists this time it's not his fault. Luckily, the prosecutor's summons hasn't arrived yet. Mr. Koroglu, desperate to protect his son, comes up with a temporary plan. He has Harry drive Sedat to stay with his old friend in seclusion until the mess blows over. Following her father's orders, Seelan stuffs a large sum of money into her brother's luggage. As Nalan says goodbye to Sedat, she feels a wave of nausea. Unwilling to worry him, she decides to hide the pregnancy, lying that stress has been upsetting her stomach. She doesn't notice Mama listening outside the door. Mr. Koroglu knows there's more to this than meets the eye. Someone is definitely manipulating the public opinion behind the scenes. To prevent Sedat's phone from being tracked or monitored, he gets him a new one. In order to cover up her brother's escape, Seelan lures reporters to the company, claiming she'll hold a press conference to answer all their questions. After Sedat leaves safely, Mama confronts Nalan, asking if the hospital called with the test results. Nalan denies being pregnant, not wanting to add to the chaos. But there's no way she can fool sharp Mama. Mama heads to the pharmacy and tells the pharmacist to give her 2 boxes of the most expensive, most accurate pregnancy tests. The pharmacist is stunned, struggling not to laugh. Mama snaps, "What's so funny? Who says a 70-year-old woman can't have a baby? You'd better get married soon. Only then is life complete." Mama then calls her husband, asking him to pack some of her things and send them to the Koroglu villa. Since Nalan's husband isn't around, she plans to stay here and take care of the pregnant Nalan for a while. But just as Dad is about to head out, Kana shows up uninvited. Learning that Mama isn't home, she walks in unceremoniously. With her kids taken by Alp and their whereabouts unknown, she wants Dad, using his connections from his time as a former governor, to help find them. To curry favor, she offers to make coffee for Dad. Fearing his wife might come back, Dad quickly locks the door. Mama pulls a pregnancy test from her pocket and forces Nalan to take it right now. Nalan panics and heads into the bathroom, thinking that if the test is gone, she can hide the pregnancy. So she lies, saying she accidentally dropped the test in the toilet. But as they say, no matter how tricky one is, there's always someone trickier. Mama calmly pulls out another box from her pocket, saying she has plenty more in her bag. Nalan, completely defeated, breaks down and admits she's pregnant. It's her first time being a mother, and with her husband's troubles weighing on her, she's terrified and doesn't know how to handle it all. Mama is furious about the lie and finds it hard to forgive. After waiting ages for Dad to bring her things, Mama decides to go home and get them herself. Right now, Dad is having a pleasant chat with Kana over coffee. When he hears Mama knocking, Dad frantically tells Kana to hide downstairs and hurries to put away the coffee things. The fact that her husband has locked the door in broad daylight confuses Mama, but she's too preoccupied with taking care of Nalan until the baby is born to care about it right now. With nowhere else to hide, Kana stumbles into the basement. The sight of large spoons, strange jars, and things that look like torture tools sends a chill down her spine. Suddenly, Mama comes into the basement to get something and catches a whiff of strong perfume. Dad, panicking that Kana will be discovered, says Mama is just imagining things because she's too stressed. Mama actually believes him, figuring it might be leftover cleaner smell. As soon as Mama leaves, Dad rushes to the basement and tells Kana to leave at once. Glancing back, she feels a surge of fear. She never wants to set foot in a place like this again. Meanwhile, Harry takes Sedat to a remote coastal area, a desolate place with nothing but a shabby wooden cabin. Sedat looks disgusted. I'm the son of a billionaire. How can I live in such a dump? But he's here for refuge, not vacation. His father's friend doesn't coddle him at all. He just tosses him a bucket of fish. If he wants to eat, he'll have to get his hands dirty. How would a spoiled kid know how to do this? Sedat rants at the dead fish, oblivious to how his family is unraveling mentally over his mess. Mr. Korglo hires the best lawyer in the world to get Sedat out of trouble. The lawyer tells him to pull a switch, find someone to take the blame for Sedat. And they need to act fast before the prosecutor's summons arrives. Muzo doesn't hesitate to step up, offering to take the fall for his brother. He's 1,000 times more responsible than Sedat, isn't he? But just as Mr. Korglu is hesitating, the prosecutor's summons comes. Nalan forces herself to stay calm as she takes it, saying her husband is out right now and will go as soon as he gets back. At dinner, Muzo urges his father to make a decision. For him, being in a prison cell or a bedroom makes no difference. But Mr. Korglu shuts him down. After all, the lawyer had said the scapegoat couldn't be a direct relative. Otherwise, even the family's reputation wouldn't be salvageable. The only one who fits the bill is clearly his son-in-law, Levent. Levent suddenly finds the delicious food in his mouth tasteless. For the sake of his wife's future and the fate of their marriage, Levent has no choice but to voluntarily agree to take the blame for Sedat. But the next day, Mr. Korglu changes his mind. He thinks he's being too cruel to his son-in-law. What's the difference between using his power to rob Levent of his freedom and happiness and being a murderer? Muzo also realizes this, pointing out that if they go through with it, there might be bigger trouble down the line. In the end, Mr. Korglu decides to let Sedat answer the prosecutor's summons. If you do something wrong, you should face the consequences. If you run from them, you'll never hold your head up again. Levent finally breathes a sigh of relief. In the dead of night, while Harry is fast asleep, Sedat secretly calls Nalan, complaining about being taken to this middle of nowhere. He feels that in his father's eyes, the company will always be more important than him and is convinced that his father has abandoned him. Being a coward again, he plans to desert his family and flee abroad once more. This call is his final goodbye to Nalan. Nalan is beside herself with worry, but she doesn't dare tell her mother. By now, Mama has moved in, acting as Nalan's 24-hour personal bodyguard. Only after staying up until her mother is fast asleep does Nalan sneak out of the house and drive alone to find her husband. Early the next morning, Sedat is about to grab his luggage and make a run for it, planning to sneak off with the car and leave Harry behind. Unexpectedly, Nalan has come looking for him all alone. Sedat's jaw drops to the floor. In order to keep him there, Nalan has to tell him, "I'm pregnant. You're going to be a father." In that moment, Sedat seems to see a glimmer of new hope. Overwhelmed with excitement, he savors the joy of becoming a dad. Unaware that Mr. Korglu has changed his mind, Nalan tells him that Levent will take the blame for him, so there's no need for him to flee the country. Sedat finally relaxes and agrees to stay here for a while longer. For safety's sake, he asks Harry to drive Nalan back. Harry, who adores the gentle and kind Nalan, happily chats with her, sharing stories of his childhood. He mentions he had a very loving mother, but she passed away when he was 6. Not long after that, his older brother was run over by a tractor and also died. It's then that Nalan realizes a broken heart lies beneath his optimistic exterior. Halfway down the road, a traffic accident up ahead causes a massive jam. To ease the awkwardness, Harry turns on the radio, and love songs fill the car. Every lyric seems to echo his feelings for Nalan. But Nalan fails to pick up on his meaning at this moment. Watching him smile and greet other people's children, even giving them apples, Nalan's impression of him improves further. The dark clouds that have hung over her heart for so long finally lift, if only a little, all because of this sun-bright man. This is Maroon Recap. Check out my homepage and you'll see more recaps of Camdaki Kiz. I'm hastening to write and edit the next recap, so feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.